They were digging deep into the garden shaft in the hopes of finding gold or hidden artifacts, but instead they found a dark passageway from the 17th century connected to a section called the Baby Blob. The passage had odd gaps, and the walls and ceiling were broken apart, indicating that the passage had been intentionally damaged. Rick Lagena and his crew made a terrifying discovery at Smith's Cove, which is a site that is famous for its fabled treasure stash from the 18th century. The team continued to dig, taking samples every 10 feet and examining every piece of soil. As they continued, they came across flood tunnels that had haunted treasure hunters for centuries. With modern technology and experience, the team had the upper hand in detecting gold and silver. As they continued to drill, they discovered more old wooden beams that were part of a well-thought-out structure. The team was excited to discover that these beams were part of a structure that had been forgotten for a long time, possibly hiding treasure or something more sinister. They carefully removed the P-beams in the hopes that dating them would provide more insight into the timeline. As they continued to dig, they discovered pieces of wood that had been shaped by ancient tools that were used long before modern machinery. The swamp's strange story unfolded as they continued to dig. The team was on a mission to solve an ancient mystery in a swamp. They discovered ship parts dating back to the 15th century, a brace from a ship with a 9-inch diameter, and a ship's rail triling that was traced back to the 8th century. These discoveries led them to believe that the swamp contained more than just shipwrecks, suggesting that the area had a deeper history. They also discovered a large wooden structure buried in the swamp that reminded them of a dam that had been built to conceal something. Dr. Ian Sponer, a geoscientist, was brought in to assist in dating the wood and investigate whether or not it was connected to the nearby stone road, which is estimated to be around 500 years old. If the two were connected, it would indicate that the area had been a center of activity centuries ago. The swamp seemed to have a mind of its own, hiding something that no one was meant to find. Cuba and Fiona discovered a button that was covered in gold, which was reminiscent of a period in history when the Royal Navy ruled the seas. Marty and Rick were working on the southern portion of the swamp when they discovered a wooden structure that was concealed beneath a stone road. Researchers suspected that additional information was concealed close to an experienced excavator. Gary arrived at the location with a metal detector in the hopes of discovering artifacts that could provide additional information about the history of the region. His efforts were rewarded when he beeped, indicating the presence of a metal object that suggested it was from a much earlier time. As the excavation continued, the team placed markers along the passage in order to create accurate maps of what was there. Located under the surface, the treasure team. Hunters on Oak Island are determined to uncover the truths buried beneath the island, driven by historical curiosity and the thrill of the hunt. They are determined to find hidden riches and a deep history of the island itself. As they continue their search, they discover new pieces of history, such as ship parts from the 15th and 18th centuries and a ship's railing dating back to the 8th century. This discovery suggests that the swamp might have a deeper history than initially thought, possibly connecting to Viking explorers from medieval times. As they continue digging, they come across unexpected discoveries, such as a large wooden structure that resembled a wall or dam, which they believe could be linked to an ancient ship railing geoscientist. In order to investigate the region surrounding the wooden building and establish whether or not it is connected to an old stone road that is 500 years old, Dr. Ian Spooner is called in. Marty Lagaga and Dr. Spooner are working on another region that has piqued their curiosity, and they are fascinated by a gigantic stone that is embedded in a rock and is situated on top of a man-made stone structure. Dr. Spooner finds a stick wedged between the boulder and the dirt below it, proving that the boulder was moved on purpose to control the flow of water in the swamp. The team's determination to uncover the truths and mysteries surrounding Oak Island is evident in their exploration of the swamp and its rich history. The team of researchers led by Gary and Billy returned to the swamp to uncover more clues about the history of Oak Island. They discovered strange tree stumps and layers of old wood supporting Dr. Spooner's theory that the swamp had been changed by people long ago. As they continued digging, they discovered more clues such as a gold-coated button, a circular arrangement of stones within a pit lined with rocks, and several pieces of neatly cut wood and other wooden artifacts. These items seem to have predate any known history of Oak Island, driving them to delve deep into its past. The team agreed not to make significant changes to the area until further analysis by Dr. Spooner. They also discovered a 600-year-old lead coin and a piece of silverware with an intricately designed handle, suggesting a rich layer to Oak Island's past. A new set of questions regarding the history of the island was brought to light when an old shoe bottom with metal studs that had been made using conventional methods was found. Marty and Rick Lagena, along with their colleague Craig Tester, concentrated their efforts on the southern portion of the swamp, where they discovered a concealed wooden structure hidden beneath a stone pathway. This structure resembled the construction of a log cabin with additional wooden supports and underbrush, which suggested that construction may have been abruptly halted. The team was eager to learn more about the historical significance of the site and the lives of those who had once called it home.
Turn notifications on so you never miss an update.
Might there be a chance here to discover the treasure once and for all? Sure. There's all of these clues that strongly suggest this area holds significant interest.
Rick Lagena has finally found a breakthrough on mysteries of the infamous Oak Island. They just found something so bizarre that proves that gold is here on this island. Did they find a hidden chest that has a map to the actual treasure? Well, in this video, we are going to find that out. Craig Tester and Steve Guptill, along with Alex Lagena and the rest of the crew, are gathered to begin the latest large-scale excavation with the hope that they will uncover the second shaft, over 100 feet deep, and built in the early days of the 18th century, believed to be only a few feet southeast of the original money pit. To do this, they will be digging up the first ever searcher shaft on Oak Island. Their current goal is to obtain some pieces of the shaft and conduct dendrochronology on it, which will be able to tell them the year this wood was formed on a tree. According to Craig, if anything will be able to tie them back to the original money pit, it would be shaft 2. The tree rings they spot on the wood will tell them when it was cut down. If they can uncover and confirm the date to around 1805, they will not only be able to locate the original money pit, but also find the source of the precious metals they have detected in the area. They excavate a big piece of wood they believe could have belonged to one of the long walls. But the question remains, does this belong to shaft 2? According to Rick Lagena, the second shaft is like the Holy Grail in terms of significance. They are closer than ever to finding the money pit. The wood they pull out is rounded and thick, which Craig believes is the outside of the tree, and could be excellent for their testing. They take multiple samples of this wood when Marty Lagena arrives on site, and they decide to use a mirror to take a closer look at what's down there, by reflecting light into the dark corners. Marty describes how incredible it is what people in the past were able to accomplish with their limited technology, but also how they need to think to find the money pit. Gary uses his metal detector and finds a signal in one of the scoops of dirt, pulling out a rosehead spike which remains in great condition, possibly from the 1700s. Between the 1780s and mid-1800s, rosehead spikes were created for construction. This could be another clue. They note a lot of boards in the dark pit, and they decide to try and take some of those beams off the walls. Rick notes the mix of older wood and how the second shaft was built in the early 1800s, likely a great match to that old wood. If they find a match between that wood and this time frame, they will have the first discovery shaft on Oak Island, an amazing accomplishment. The operator of the excavator is flying blind but being instructed by Scott as they carefully maneuver the excavator's bucket down this shaft and scrape it along the walls for wood samples. However, they face a setback when their first sample falls out of the bucket and splashes into the water below. This is a great challenge, but Billy the operator triumphs as he pulls out a massive beam of wood. Gary then goes to check if there is any metal in the wood by passing a detector over it. When there is no signal of metal, he determines this is a good sign as it suggests a very antiquated style of construction.
First ever searcher shaft on Oak Island.
True, true.
Well, we think. That we know of.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now they ask themselves if someone could have reconstructed the top part of shaft 2 after it was originally built in 1805. They may have found the evidence to find the original money pit. This area is a landmark for them. This operation has been an incredible success. Back at the Oak Island Research Center, Marty has met with a few people who will be involved in the well drilling and to get on the same page as they move forward. Marty Lagena explains that he has been focused on the metals detected in the water. A few weeks back, some scientists had broken down the results of the testing they had conducted on the island and zeroed in on a yellow district which had persistently high levels of copper, lead, zinc, and tin. Their testing has them looking at a 2,500 square foot region known as the Pie. Dr. Michelle believes that what they are looking for is in the golden egg section they have. So Marty is determined that this is where they will be drilling all the wells, to better evaluate the area. The next morning, the crew gathers to begin their testing and digging. While drilling in the golden egg, they have come across evidence that suggests a possible structure in the area, at a depth of almost 100 feet. Mike from Choice Solid Drilling explains that the sample he pulled out is soft at the top, and we learn that there is no wood in the sample, but this is a good sign as it points to them getting close to something. Marty believes that if there is something there, they will find it in that hole. Peter suggests taking some tests of the water for metal testing, and they decide to ask Dr. Spooner to take a sample. Later that afternoon, Marty returns after he is told they have made progress in the EN13 borehole made in the golden egg. Just the other day, the crew believed they had almost hit a man-made structure as they drilled nearly 100 feet underground. The new sample under a yellow cone was measured against EN13, and what they found was something coming out of the well, like loud booms that went on for half a minute. The belief is that they may be drilling near something and air getting into it. The implication being something is open down there or collapsing. Dr. Spooner believes there must be a void. All of these clues point towards something happening in this area. Dr. Spooner holds up a sample of the water which looks yellow in the sunlight. This darker water indicates they are close to a source of wood. This development has piqued the interest of Rick Lagena, especially if it means that an underground collapse is pointing to an open chamber. They believe that water has moved from a tunnel or shaft, and all of this information is vital to know where the traces of metal are coming from. They hope that their next drilling spot will reveal even more information. The next day, they discover another Roman coin which the team has connected to descendants of Vikings, which could be important for their discussions. The historian on Oak Island explains that the Norse had reached Iceland and Greenland before 1021 AD, and after that, just a short ride away in Newfoundland, which is 600 miles northeast of Oak Island. For this reason, they are headed to that Viking settlement that was established more than a millennia ago and has been labeled by the Canadian government as a National Historic Site. Today, it is the only recognized Viking settlement in North America. According to Rick, the descendants of these Vikings are an important detail needed to understand how an old world treasure could have made its way to Oak Island.
Artifacts in the Viking Age.
Oh?
And fortunately, I have a replica here.
He believes that this history is vital for the ability of the person or people who came across the North Atlantic and do this work on Oak Island. Before their trip, they discuss bringing some of their findings like the old arrowhead along with them, as they believe they may have some connection to these Vikings and their descendants. The historian then mentions that the Viking settlement was only discovered in the 1960s, and this makes Marty laugh, as it means that there could be many more not yet discovered. The historian agrees and even believes this could mean the Vikings and Templars making their way further past Newfoundland and into Oak Island is very possible. They even have relics that point to that conclusion. Marty believes that if anything happened on Oak Island as far back as the 1200s, then it almost certainly has to be some kind of activity done by the Vikings and their descendants. Based on what they know currently, it almost has to lead to them, as very few people in that period knew about this island. It is very possible that they could have brought along the Knights Templar or any number of other people to the island with the intention of depositing something. This leads to the Laginas wanting to launch an expedition. After finding another coin on Lot 5, Alex is very excited about the crew going to L'Anse aux Meadows, or the Viking settlement on Newfoundland, and looking around while Alex remains back at the island. New insight and perspective is always important on their quest to uncover the secrets and treasures of Oak Island. Thank you so much for watching and liking this video. Don't forget to share this with your friends and family. Let us know in the comments what you think about Oak Island's many mysteries and treasures. Do you think they are getting closer to uncovering the truth of the island? If you love this content and never want to miss an update, make sure you subscribe and turn notifications on.